Hello, once more, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Back on YouTube, doing the 2025 Week 11 Big Ten predictions. We get into it here today. Week 11, 4 weeks left in the season. Last week, Week 10, I went 5-1. So just barely a perfect week, almost a perfect week for a third straight week, but that did not happen though. But Week 11, 7 games on the schedule. Tough 7 games. All are good games. Let's get into it. Dive right on in. First game tomorrow night, Friday night. Northwestern heads out to USC to play the Trojans out in the Coliseum in at Southern California in LA. Should be a fun matchup to see. Northwestern coming in, they're a team that's well improved this year. A team that has shown they can win games this year, and for me, that's one of those teams. Northwestern, I wasn't expecting them to do a lot of things, but playing against USC, going up against the Trojans, a team that's in the top 25. USC coming off a loss to Nebraska last week in a close one, but at the end of the day, you look at USC playing at home this week, and next week USC has a game as well against Iowa. So USC, it's a good stretch for them playing at home against Northwestern the next week as well. But overall, I think USC this week is going to be dominating against Northwestern. I don't know how Northwestern's going to handle USC. At the end of the day, I do see this game being a little close, but I think USC escapes at the end of the day and makes it a big win, as I do think the Trojans get the win against Northwestern to start out Week 11 tomorrow. Moving on to the Saturday slate of games. We have Penn State at home, a team that's lost 5 in a row as of late. A team that was supposed to be in the top 5 of the conference. Against Indiana Hoosiers 9-0. Indiana top 2 in the country, ranked up there at number 2 at the moment. As I look at this matchup for Indiana and Penn State, it's a matchup that you can't get wrong. This could be a game for me. I can see where Penn State coming off a 5-game losing streak. This could be a game where Penn State might play the way they should and might show up like they should have been at the beginning of the year, or should have been all season, but with a backup quarterback and all. Playing against Indiana, it's going to be a tough opponent. Indiana's tough. They're unbeaten. Indiana knows how to win. They're 9-0, team that's 9-0 from back-to-back years for the first time in who knows how long. I think the first time ever, possibly. But looking at Penn State, even though they lost 5 in a row, I think this game for Penn State, this is going to be a game they need to show up and play well if they want to make it to a bowl game this year. And I think this game could be a game for Indiana where it's a game where it could be tough. Going on the road to Penn State, I think Penn State, though, handles it this week. But at the end of the day, I think Indiana wins a close one because I think Penn State makes a little too many mistakes. So give me the Indiana Hoosiers in this one on the road as the Road Warriors on Saturday at Penn State. Moving on. Ohio State. They travel to Purdue to play the Boilermakers. Let me get my Purdue helmet real quick. It's hiding from me because they're at the bottom of the conference. But the Boilermakers, Purdue, Ohio State, a matchup. You can look at it and say, okay, Ohio State and Purdue. For Ohio State, this is a game where they're going to go into Purdue unbeaten, trying to get 9-0, try to make a race in the Big Ten. They still have a race in the Big Ten. They still have a long way to go for Purdue. It's a game they need to show up and play well if they're gonna get back to where they need to be and make a bowl game. I don't think Purdue's gonna make it right now. But for me, Ohio State's one of those teams top in the conference, just like Indiana. I think Ohio State makes this game easy. It's a cakewalk for them. It should be, again, against Boilermakers. But there have been times where we've seen Purdue upset Ohio State in West Lafayette, and that could be this weekend. But I don't think it happens because I think Ohio State plays well and makes it an easy win on the road. So I'm going to give it the Buckeyes here in this one on a Saturday. Moving on to our next one. Battle between two teams who've been in the conference since 2014 for about 10 years. They're in their 11th season. Maryland, they travel to Rutgers. Two teams that were brought in 2014 into the conference of the Big Ten. And this game overall, these two teams were introduced in the conference, they played the final games of the regular season the first 2 years before they ended up switching off, and now they just play in the middle of the season instead. But overall, Rutgers, Maryland, it's a matchup of two teams where you can put out and say this. that it's two teams that are new style football. They use running quarterbacks quite a bit. They pass and they have passing games as well. Two teams that pass a lot. For this one, I think it's a toss-up between which team wins this game. It's going to come down to which team makes the least amount of mistakes and which quarterback can make the least amount of mistakes. And it's also is going to be a game where the two defenses are going to have the two defenses are going to have to play well. If one of them is going to win, the defense has to show up for one of these two. At the day, I think Rutgers gets a big home win at home and continues their good season. The two teams are mediocre, even though they're near the bottom. I think both teams play well. I think Rutgers, though, comes out on top of this one on a Saturday. So give me the Scarlet Knights at home on Saturday. Moving on. The game I will be at on Saturday, Oregon travels to Iowa City to play the Hawkeyes. As an Iowa fan, I will say this. It's going to be fun to see Oregon play, a team that has speed and power, a team that is full of speedsters. Oregon usually is full of speedsters, but this is a task for Oregon in November, a game where Iowa has a record of 20-5 since the year 2020 in the month of November. Only 5 losses since 2020 in November. That makes this game an interesting matchup because it's an Oregon team in the top 10 and Iowa playing at home. Iowa has hurt top 10 teams, but they're 0-10 in their last 10 top games against top 25 teams. And I think that hurts Iowa a little bit this week. But you have to make the statement, though. Iowa can play well against a team at home in November. They can play well, they can hurt you, they can stop you. It just depends how Oregon plays it and what cards Oregon wants to play to get a win. At the end of the day, I see this game being one of those games where it's a close one. I potentially see an upset happening, but only if Iowa can make the plays they need to that Oregon makes mistakes on. But I think Oregon comes away with a close one, but pulls it out, just kind of like the Indiana-Iowa game when it was 20-15 there, way back in the season in September. I see it going that way for Oregon with a win being close this week. So give me the Ducks in this one. Moving on there. It's time. The Washington Huskies. They travel to Madison, Wisconsin. The Badgers. Another one of those teams in the Big Ten that's had a tough season. Washington, though, if you're a Washington Husky fan, your team has been improved this season by a lot and has found ways to get wins in the Big Ten. Washington's found ways. They're only bowl eligible. They're making runs. They still have a chance to potentially get to the Big Ten championship, but only if they can play their cards the right way and help other teams in front of them losing. There's too many scenarios to speak of in Week 11, but that's why it's called November in the Big Ten and in college football when teams get beat. But overall, Wisconsin, they've had a tough season. Washington, though, better than them. That's why I think Washington comes in on the road, gets a big road win in Wisconsin. But I do think Wisconsin keeps it close during the first half. At the end of the game, I think Washington pulls it out and runs away with it. So give me the Huskies there. And lastly, for our last game of the night, we have to go out west to the Rose Bowl. Nebraska coming off a win against USC. They travel out west to the Rose Bowl to play the Bruins of UCLA and match up under the lights in the Rose Bowl. Should be one of those games that should be fun to see, and a game that should be a good contest. UCLA and Nebraska, two teams that should play well against each other. For Nebraska, the question is, the quarterback, after Dylan Raiola, their quarterback got hurt over the weekend on last Saturday. It was announced on Sunday that he's out for the season. Unfortunately, that's going to hurt with Nebraska quite a bit. I don't know how it's going to happen, how it's going to affect the play. But I think UCLA is going to take advantage of the Nebraska quarterback situation and make some big plays. I think UCLA plays well against Nebraska this weekend. I think UCLA might fight Nebraska for an upset. But at the end of the day, I see a road win for the Huskers coming away with it with the backup quarterback in the game. So give me the Huskers against UCLA for Week 11 to finish off the 2025 Week 11 Big Ten predictions right here. If you did enjoy today's video, please remember, watch, like, subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends to do the same if they're not done so already. And also don't forget, hit that notification button below so you know when there's a new video on the channel. With that being said, have a good day. Stay safe. Peace out. I'll see you right back here and the Week 11 Big Ten prediction quick version coming up shortly. And then Saturday night after Nebraska UCLA, have the Big Ten prediction recap Saturday night. So see you then. Bye for now. Have a good day. Stay safe and peace out. See everyone. Have a good day and stay safe out there. See ya. Bye.